let's talk a little bit about the progression. When was your first fight? What year was your first fight?
My first fight was in 2005.
Okay, so 2005. And then when did you become, you became Desert Extreme champion first or King of the Cage champion?
I was Desert Extreme with my first title. I was 18 years old. It was, like I said, in 2005, I beat Thomas Urquidez for it.
Thomas Urquidez.
Yes, by triangle choke. So.
And then the progression then moved on to becoming the King of the Cage flyweight world champion. When did you win that belt?
That was in May of 2008. I beat Ryan Diaz. It was a battle. I beat him in the 5th round via armbar.
Okay.
And it was a amazing fighter, Ryan Diaz. I've watched him growing up. I've watched him dominate the circuit and do really well. And I was real excited to take that fight, and I felt honored to fight Ryan Diaz, and beating him and stuff was fun too. And of course, beating him was even better because I got to bring this home, and
And now I know that becoming the King of the Cage champion was actually a goal of yours. Is that correct?
Yes, it was a dream of mine since I was 13 years old. Me and my dad, were talking about, I was talking about wanting to become a fighter. And at that point, we were watching Pride and different promotions in Japan and King of the Cage and stuff, and UFC. And my dad would tell me, he was like, the weight class thing. And finally, we seen a King of the Cage on, UFC had the open weight tournaments and stuff. So you knew I was too small. I'm a 35, but I was too small to be going against 250, 50 pounders. But we tuned into I don't remember which it was, King of the Cage. And Charlie Valencia at the time was a champion.
Okay.
And I said, look at that, 135. I would love to. That's my weight class right there. That's something that we can do. And a few years later, man, I got the belt around my waist, and it was amazing. And another dream in that same period was to fight in Japan. And I'm so happy to be living my dreams and doing what I love to do. And it's
let's
amazing.
talk about that transition. How is it? So we already discussed Desert Extreme champion, King of the Cage champion. How did it come about? How did you get the invitation to join the Dream Grand Prix tournament?
Honestly, I think it's just making contacts. And I've been fighting my heart out everywhere I go. I've fought Elite XC in California. I'm putting on some good shows everywhere I go, and just meeting people. And I guess Dream officials or I'm not sure how it worked out, but I'm thankful that it did, and I got the phone call and got the offer, and I think I'm just real excited to be there.
So they call you up on the phone, and I don't know, I'm curious, how does that go? They did somebody who speaks English call you up? And of course
I was in the middle of training. They called. My dad answered the phone, and my dad was. I noticed a little change in his facial expression and stuff, and then he called me up front and let me know. And at that time I was training for a fight at the Inn of the Mountain Gods Casino for King of the Cage, and so I was ready anyways. And it was coming up right about the same time, the same day actually. And there's no way we're going to pass that up. Terry Treblecock himself, he said, this is an opportunity you can't let pass by, and
right.
And for him to say that, and I've got a lot of respect for him and for what he's done for me in my career. And I knew I had to go over there and shine and do what I had to do and do what he knew and everybody knew that I could do. And that's get a victory and and entertain the crowd and make more fans everywhere I go. And that's basically it. I'm looking forward to going back this time and doing the same thing.
Right on. So, Terry Treblecock Jr. is the owner of King of the Cage. Would you say that he's then been instrumental in helping shape your career?
I would definitely say so. Yes. I mean, he's the owner of King of the Cage. He's done a lot. He's given me fights, and he's helped me out along the way with different, everywhere, different things. He's always there, and I'm thankful for him. He's a great guy to have on your side, and I'm just happy that he's on my side, because look at my career, and it's a lot of it's due to King of the Cage, and everybody involved with King of the Cage.
When are you flying out to Japan?
I'll be flying out of here on the 22nd.
The 22nd, which
Yes.
will give you 3 days to acclimate to the change in the time zone and maybe the long flight. What was that like the first time you went over there? Was it Was there any jet lag? Was there any, you know what
Oh.
I'm saying?
Honestly, man, when I was there, I was so excited, so looking forward, so pumped for the fight. You know, I didn't feel anything until I got back. Actually, that week when I got back home, I was so weak and so tired. The jet lag hit when I got back into the States, but as far as the transition to Japan and everything, it went smooth. It went great. I felt great the whole time.
So do you find that it kind of, when you start packing and you get on the plane, is the adrenaline kicking in from that moment?
I got the adrenaline kicking in now, man.
Talking about it. Right?
Yeah. It's the 10th Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Grandma.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
I feel it every day. It's on my mind all the time. I got Hideo Tokoro. I got Dream. I got everything on my mind. I can't wait to go back and do what I got to do.
Right. Now, how does the tournament work? You won your first round, so you move on as what do they call this? The quarterfinals.
Yes.
And so you move on and you fight Hideo. Now you're gonna win. What's the next step?
Well, from what I understand, I believe this is going to go down to the final four, and then the final round. I believe the final four fighters are going to put on 2 fights as a show opener, and then the winner of those 2 fights are going to be in the finale for the main event that same night.
So you never fought 2 times in one night, then?
Well, early in my career, the back of the gym type stuff, but no. No, I definitely never fought like 2 times in one night. It's going to be a pretty fun experience.
Is that motivating you to try to get to that final so that you can, say, not only did I win the Grand Prix, but I won 2 fights in one night to do it?
I think winning the Grand Prix and being known as the best fighter in the world at that weight is motivation enough. But that's definitely something that's pretty interesting and pretty cool to look forward to. It's been an amazing road. A lot of dreams coming true. When I was 13 years old, before my first fight, I had 2 dreams I talked to my dad about. One was becoming the King of the Cage champion, and the other was to fight in Japan. And today, on the 10th, Happy Mother's Day, Grandma. Today, I've done both, and I'm hungry for more, man. I more and more dreams, more and more goals set forth every day, and right now I'm focused on this featherweight tournament, and looking forward to doing what I got to do. I definitely it's been a long road, an amazing road. Like I said, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of people helped me out along the way. Everybody from the small Desert Extreme shows, or from the smaller shows all over the place, to the King of the Cage, to Elite XC in California, to, fighting on Showtime, fighting in Japan on HDNet, hearing one of my idols and role models, Boss Rutan, talking great about me on HDNet. Watching that was amazing. It's a lot of stuff. It's just it's kind of almost overwhelming at some point, because I've worked so hard for it, and I know I've worked hard, and I earned this. But at the same time, it's just amazing. You kind of take it from it sometimes. It's really been a great road.
How do you reassess your goals? You said that you had these dreams of becoming the King of the Cage champion and then of fighting in Japan. And then, was there a day where you realized and you said to yourself, wow, I did what I set out to accomplish? And then how do you reassess your goals and set some new ones for yourself?
Well, as a mixed martial artist, and as a person, my dad really instilled in me, you as soon as you're settled, as soon as you're happy with where you are in life, that's when you've lost. That's when you're done. You're done. So constantly wanting to improve, you can always get better. Like I said earlier, I've watched my fights, and people say you learn more from your losses than you do your wins. But I learn a lot from wins and losses, because I've never fought a perfect fight. I've never won a perfect fight, and I've lost a few times. So I know that there's always room to improve in my fighting career. Obviously I'm not the top yet. I still got this tournament still high on the list. There's a lot of fighters out there I need to fight. A lot of things that need to happen. In with the sport and in my life in general. As soon as you stop wanting to improve, that's like I said, you just hang them up.
I'm the Malaya of Rocket. Yes,